let's just dive in and talk about the guy who the Kalahari pain train, Jasper, who is currently carrying that huge carry load, getting his 100 carries and his 100 tackles in. And so let's just talk about what he does and what he looks like when he's operating. First thing will be in the carries and the tackle zone.
First one, Yasper carrying. Now, what I want to point out here is just have a look at his body position when he goes into contact. He really tries to get hip height, especially against, obviously that's a lock in front of him. And he does this really well, tremendously well. Dips, isolates one player, doesn't go into that double hit, gets into the heart of that, waits for the support, and he keeps that ball. Now, as we go along, you'll see why that becomes so important when we look at the rest of the players and how they carry ball. On the next one, again, a little show of the ball, gets off, but have a look at how he protects the ball, kind of ripping it away from the six in terms of not giving him an opportunity to wrap. He knows he's exposing that ball, but the first tackler was on his left-hand side. Gets to ground, and what we want to have a look at here is just, it's a bit of ground skill work that I think a lot of these boys have got to look at. So because they carry so well, Harry, they get isolated often. And support runner is far away. You got a jackler quite close to it. They've got to get to the point where they're changing the picture of the jackler. They need to push that ball back. Just the old jackknife recoil is not good enough anymore for these jacklers. They get onto the ball too quickly. Their visual is too good. Their technique is tremendous. And your support runners are always going to be late. And in this instance, you can see that he has an opportunity there to get up off his hips, push the ball back, lift his upper body, change that picture, and the jackler will probably fall over him and lose his feet. Instead, he gives an opportunity to get onto that ball. I don't know if you've got anything on that, Harry.
Yeah, the dynamism in that sort of the magic 3 seconds, that golden 3 seconds. Be ever shifting, be a hard target, elbows. You've got, there's definitely now, because so many people now go over the ball, because when you're playing a proper team, one of the top teams, there's going to be 5, 6, 7, 8 guys that are skilled at getting over. Your job is not done. So I do think that's true. Jasper is actually really good at, by the way, shifting, like you're saying, about subtle, almost shrugs into contact, where he could just go down normal or power, but he's not as blunt as people say. He actually is really good at finding that little part of you that you're the weakest on. So he's driving at your hands when they're by your hips. I think adding to ground game is probably where he would get full marks. I mean, if he could just, there's not many people who carry better than Jasper Wiese. It's going to be about the what happens next. How good you are at avoiding the snaffle, and how sure you are to repeat and build momentum in the carry.
Without a doubt. And I think, like you said, that ground skill work, just adding to the way that he carries ball, this is not the best position to be in. I think a lot of players would have gotten ripped here, but the way he protects that ball, look how he gets the hands up. He took the ball away from him, but that ground skill there, I think, can improve. And he's not bad with it, but I think it's a focus thing. And just to assume that you have ruckers on your back, that's probably where the problem lies.
It's also, I think, also because he's maxing out on every single carry, and you could never tell a player not to max out, right? Like, don't carry as well. He wants to eke out every final inch. But what you're saying is exactly right. Don't give me that final lunge if it's going to put you in danger. I'd prefer that you have a seamless quick ruck. Give me the quick ruck every time.
So on the next one, carrying off the left of the scrum, again, he's not giving them any opportunity to get to that ball. closes that up.
Mm.
It's one, there's the double shoulder. It's not a double shoulder together, which makes a difference, as we'll see later. And fighting for that ball, and the ball's out. Just that power that he gets off with, and the fight is tremendous. Kick return, small space. Now, he shows them he's going into the double. They get planted, and then he just moves into this little space here. And there, that double shoulder is not simultaneous again, which gets him in behind. Now, what I would like to see there, I'd like to see Jasper start looking around to get rid of that ball. Because in this situation, Jasper's just thinking of getting past that tackle. And if you start looking around, it's funny, but it's true. If you start looking around, you activate players around you. Go, he's looking for someone to pass to. And that's when you can run off him. If I play with these gents, you would have ran off their shoulders so many times just because you know they're always getting to this position, yeah. And you can avoid this ruck.
Yeah.
Quick ball, play off that. Kickoff return, first tackle. And again, it just keeps going. He just keeps going. What did you call him? The Kalahari?
Pain train. He's the Kalahari pain train.
Part of this, Harry, is also seeing the field. Where's the next space? There it is. Getting to that. Get the fend. Chasing. Not accepting that tackle. Waiting for him to get around there. And now, if we can just get that ball into the hands of the next attacker, that'll ask a lot of questions of many defenses.
That's a great clip. You know, you get to see in the pregame, in the Bok now, a lot of them have their specially designed, tailor-made exercises. And Jasper's one is literally, I forget which coach, assistant coach, is behind him with the elastic, and he just drags him across the field. I mean, Jasper is just running with the coach behind him, trying to stop him with that little break. And that's what he works on. And it makes me think that in those contact situations, like you just showed, he actually knew he had enough. Like he wasn't just thinking, I hope I can break this tackle. He knew that his position was so superior that those RGs were just going to be, he's just going to take them on a ride.
Now, if we look at the tackle, I said to you earlier, Jasper's an 8 that he kind of defends like a 6 for me. And what I mean by that is he gets a lot more shoulder on than chest on. He focuses on getting that chest on, even from the side. You'll see in this clip. So a lot of players in this position would try and catch that Jasper. A lot of players in this position would try and catch him, put him down, and then jackal from there. But what Jasper does is he focuses on getting that shoulder in. And that's a great sign for any defense coach when you get guys leaning forward, getting up onto their toes and punching into tackles the way that he does. And it just changes the whole picture for the attack on the attacking breakdown. Next one again, rushes out of line. It's a bad visual for us. You can't really see, but he rushes off the line, gets line speed, great jump, and then stays body in front. That's the other thing that he does really well. After the hit, his body stays in front, and it's kind of like you defending a maul. You don't want that water spilling out the bowl. He keeps them in front, and he makes sure that, and he ensures that he's got a power finish on them. So gets off the line, and he just doesn't get back to his feet to have an involvement afterwards. But I think that initial hit, the speed of the line, and that puts attack under pressure. Again, getting off the line, and that's what he does well, Harry. Look at the forward lean and then punching, even though the ball carrier has dropped his height. Now, Yasper is probably about 3 or 4 centimeters shorter than the rest of our our players that we'll discuss, but the way he gets under and that forward lean gives you those pillars at the back on the hit, which means you can absorb the pressure and get this final result. And he doesn't stop. After the hit, he doesn't stop. He finishes and gets that power finish. And then just a little work rate clip of Jasper, makes a chasing tackle, gets up, makes the hit after the ball's been passed, but the way he gets up after this tackle, it just comes back to that Springbok battle rate and what they deem as important. He's an absolute workhorse.
Yeah, and he's 100% max guy. So those are explosive clips, but you could have grabbed 100 clips at random and you would have seen the same level of commitment for sure.
Now, part of the defense is the jackling, and he's no mug when it comes to that. Great position, gets onto the ball immediately. He fights for the ball, and that's the other thing I like of Jasper. He's not trying to buy penalties. He'll take it, but he wants the ball. Because once he gets the ball, that's what he can do. And there's that little movement on the ground we'd like to see. As he falls down, you see a lot more of his number there. And that small little change of direction for the ball just makes it difficult for the jackler to get into. Now, the attack side of things. Obviously, it's a bit set a bit wider here. He wants to run off Wiese. He can throw the tip. He's not one-dimensional. He can use his feet, but he can throw the tip and play that little tip pass and then still stay alive to be part of that attacking breakdown. And then on receiving ball on the engagement line, this is not an easy thing to do. It means you've got to finish your catch, and it shows that disregard for his body, Harry. Like, this ball is more important than these two Argentinians in front of me. I'm going to ensure that I hold on to this. John de Villiers used to be brilliant with this. He ran into the hole first, and then he took the ball after that. Not that this is that, but it's a skill to catch that ball, man and ball, and then get advantage line after that as well.
Well, it's incredible focus. You know, he does a one thing before he does the other thing. And it's a hallmark of his game is that he is incredibly focused. I think he would be the first one to say that's why he had to add some skills, because he was so focused on the first things that he hadn't done the next things. But you just showed some things he added. For example, he didn't come in as a snaffler or jackler. He's now definitely a certified jackler. He can get over the ball anywhere.
Yeah, I agree. And then this last clip, Harry, I think if I was the Edinburgh defense coach, I would have no hair left. You know,
I love this one.
You've just stolen the ball, and then the South African gives him the ball and says, "Okay, we're going to tackle you." No, we're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. That's a fantastic finish.
Yeah. And first of all, it's long hair Yasper, which is a cool version of him. Second part is these are not mugs he's running over. These are guys like James Ritchie. These are, proper test internationals that he's just mowing over like a lawnmower.
But how good is it to be able to give everything in that contact? He's at a 45-degree lean angle, uses Ritchie to keep him up, brushes off the next one, give him the hip, and score that try.
Like a winger. He finishes like a wing.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
No, there's the thing that leaps out to me. Great clips, Andre, but the body position throughout, I wouldn't even tweak anything. Like, I would just say keep that body position. Now we're going to work on what you said, looking for the offload. When you're presenting, do it like a bench press, like a really dynamic move. Don't go slow. But the body position, which is the hardest thing to teach any young man in contact, because it hurts. And because we like to wince before we hit, he doesn't do any of that. He gets his position, and that's why he's a train, because he doesn't care what's on those tracks. It's him going through you.
Yeah.
Or he's the, what you would say, the leader of the sort of contact area. I think, where sometimes I wonder, we have some young contenders who might be better than him, is evasion, just the ability to take one or two steps. That's not knocking Yasper, because we have him at a 38 out of 40 on the carry tackle, which is going to be up there. But what would get him to 39 would be that extra step, the ability to carve and find a weak shoulder or a seam, and then that tip through contact as well.
Yeah, and like you said, it's not to knock him, and I'd rather play with Wiese than against him for sure. But to go to that next level, and that's what we alluded to in the beginning of this series, is the fact that those small changes could get you to that next level, because you're carrying 12, 15, 17 times. You don't want to expose the ball. You don't want to give them an opportunity on the ground. You want to avoid rucks as many times as possible. If you can get offloads away, you put defenses under pressure. And it's something that I think he's gone from where he was to where he is now. I think there's still a lot to come for Jasper Wiese.
Yeah, so I think the question around Wiese is, does he keep the jersey from now to 2027 in the next World Cup? And with the carry ability, the ability to carry in traffic, but with this deficiency in what we call ball skills, ball awareness, and seeing the field. But for sure, he's a 10 out of 10 on durability, going 80. The guy is just a machine. I think that would be the interesting plot twist, because a lot of people are talking about our two young guns, Evan Roos, Cameron Hanekom, and it's impossible not to.
Yeah.
But what would be very interesting and so South African and Bok would be for Wiese to hold on to it anyway and say, no, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go back to school. I'm going to get whatever you need me to get. And, he ends up being the guy that learns the offload, or he's the one who finds the space. So the way we have it tallied out, I think, with a 38, 25 out of 30 for boys ball skills, 17 out of 20 for seeing the field, and then 10 out of 10 for being durable. I mean, that's the leading score. That's still the incumbent. And why wouldn't it be? He's played enough tests. He's seen enough things now, and he's a guy you trust. If you're picking a team tomorrow to go into the World Cup final tomorrow, imaginarily, and he's fit, I trust him. I trust him because the last time we saw that, he was able to seal the deal.